What is up, YouTube family? Welcome back to Quintessential Sports. And we just finished week 18 of the NFL season, and the playoffs are set. Man, what a hell of a Sunday it was. It was like almost every game had some kind of playoff implications. So much parity this year. You know, it was really hard to make the picks and really hard for a lot of bettors. But for entertainment purposes, it was a hell of a year. Anybody could beat anybody any given week, and that's how you want it in the NFL season. And speaking on that note, I won the football pool back-to-back weeks. I finished the year off with back-to-back wins and show and prove and represent it like I always do every year. I had to let everybody know your boy still got it. You know what I'm saying? So that's another $200 and something, just like last week. I know everybody is tripping because I was so close all year and I skipped a couple weeks. I was in the Bahamas when I should have won, and you know, it was looking bleak, y'all. I ain't even gonna front. It was looking real bleak, but then I finished the year off with back-to-back wins and took that money from their ass. So it's a good night. You know, last week, it was a hell of a celebration for New Year with a win. Put that money in my pocket, and now I'm starting the new year off with another couple $100. So let's get it, and let's get into these games, because, man, it was all kinds of shit going on. I'm going to tell y'all why I made my picks and how I won that money. So that first game, that Steelers-Ravens game, I noticed that a lot of people had picked Baltimore. People didn't do their research. People didn't know that Baltimore was going to be basically resting a lot of people. So just that alone told you that the Ravens weren't going to be at 100%, you know, of what they're capable of. And Pittsburgh was sitting there fighting for a playoff spot. It's a rivalry game. And even though they were playing in Baltimore, I knew Mike Tomlin was going to have them boys ready. And shout out to my cousin, Spencer Anderson, who's a rookie for the Steelers. And, you know, he's playing on special teams right now. And it's awesome to see him going to the playoffs like the Pittsburgh Steelers normally do under Mike Tomlin. So I'm about to hit him up in a few and send him some congratulatory messages. Yeah, that's cool to see him experience that and get to go to the playoffs his very first year. So them winning 17-10, I mean, that was a no-brainer for me. But that pick right there wiped out like half of the people in the football pool, because a lot of people, majority of the people, picked Baltimore. The next game, Texans and Colts, that was a tough game to pick right there. You know, they were playing in Indianapolis, and like I've been saying all year, the Colts show up almost every week. It's hard to get them out of there, and I knew this was going to be a big test for Houston. But the thing that made me pick the Texans was, of course, C.J. Stroud been balling. Now that he been back from concussion, I just felt like it was their year to go to the playoffs. You know, C.J. Stroud, he really deserved it. You know, he was in the MVP talks at one point this year. So looking at the Colts, how, you know, they kind of deserved it, but they blew a couple games late that I thought was really going to hurt them, and the Texans picked up some games that really propelled them to be in this position, and I just felt like Houston was the better team, you know, through and through. Looking at the whole season, I felt like C.J. Stroud was going to come through, and he did. They pulled that thing out 23-19, and I'm happy for the kid. I really like this team. They don't have a whole lot of superstars, and to see him make it to the playoffs in his rookie season, man, that's real dope to see. And just to see Houston back in the playoffs after the whole Deshaun Watson debacle. You had the Jaguars at the Titans. Once again, a lot of people picked Jacksonville because you would think that Jacksonville is the better team. But once again, they didn't do their research. They had some injuries. Quarterback was dealing with a little bit of injuries. They weren't really playing at the best of their capabilities all year long. They've been looking iffy. And just that alone was like, you know what? I don't really believe that they deserve to go to the playoffs. I saw Mike Vrabel say that they were not going to be laying down for Jacksonville. They playing at home. This was Tannehill's last game as a Titan, and possibly Derrick Henry's last game as a Titan, and maybe Mike Vrabel's last game as a Titan. There's word that maybe he might replace Bill Belichick and go to New England. So this was just one of those games where I just felt like the Titans were going to come out and do the damn thing and try to send these dudes out on a good note and put Jacksonville out of their misery. They've been hobbling and shaky all year. It was time to get them out of there. They were not ready for the playoffs. The next game, Vikings at the Lions, that was a no-brainer. Lions were playing for playoff positioning, and the Vikings just not up to par. Lions needed this win to go into the playoffs on the right foot. And it was big, you know. This was the way that they finished the year off after they had that rough stretch earlier is real. It's real commendable to see them get to the playoffs with these wins under their belt and look like a real formidable contender. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how they do in the playoffs. But it's just good to see Detroit back in the playoffs, especially with Jared Goff and the whole situation of letting Stafford go and replacing him with Goff. And now they get to play Matt Stafford next week in the playoffs. Man, that's going to be crazy. You had the Falcons at the Saints. Originally, I had the Falcons because I didn't I thought the Falcons, I knew the Falcons were playing for the playoff spot, but I didn't know they were playing on the road. And I didn't realize that the Saints still had a chance to get in. So them playing at home with a chance to get in, I knew they would come out and get this win. I figured they would. I actually went back and changed this pick before the deadline, and that was one of the biggest games that got me the money this week. But it was too late for the Saints, you know, a little bit too late. They couldn't do enough, you know, too little, too late. They pulled the win off, but they didn't make the playoffs. So they're going to be kicking themselves in the ass because they're going to be looking at a lot of the other games that they should have won or could have won. And all they needed was one more win. They would have got in. You got the Jets at the Patriots. This was one of the picks I got wrong. I thought Bill Belichick playing possibly his last game in New England was definitely going to go out on a win. And they get smashed by the Jets 17-3. Man, that was a total shock for me right there. Now it's really looking like Bill Belichick needs to go. You know, losing a game like this at the end, it just looks like maybe he's lost the locker room and it looked like his time is up. You know, the Brady days are over. You know, everybody knows now why he was having so much success. When you go and look at his record without Brady, including Cleveland, it's like 80 wins to like 130 losses. You know what I'm saying? So everybody knows what it is now. He's like 71 years old now, so I can't really see why anybody would. I mean, I can see why somebody would get him, but to be your head coach, he's not a motivational guy. And if he doesn't have a top tier QB at the helm, it's a wrap for him. You know, he's not going to be able to he'll make your defense better. So I can see him being a defensive coordinator somewhere. But with his clout, he's not going back to a coordinator job. He's going to take a head coaching job. So I can see him maybe going somewhere like the Los Angeles Chargers and doing something with them because, you know, they got the QB. You know, he got to go somewhere where he's got a big time QB to recreate the whole Brady effect thing again. So we'll see how that plays out. You had the Bucks at the Panthers. This was pretty much a no-brainer because Bucks needed to win to get in, and the Panthers were playing spoiler, but the Panthers just been they suck all year long, and they put up another goose egg. I think they put up a goose egg last week when the owner dropped that cup on the fans, and now they don't score again. And now your boy Bryce, what I've been telling y'all Panthers fans, your boy Bryce, he threw for like 100 yards. Shh. Did he even throw for 100 yards? He threw for 95 yards. I told y'all that dude is not the one. And now they're kicking themselves in the ass because look at all the other QBs they could have had. It's not looking good for y'all, Carolina. You had the Browns at the Bengals. Man, this was another game that got me the money. A lot of people picked Cleveland because they've been going off of what Cleveland's been doing the last how many weeks with Joe Flacco. But once again, they didn't do their research. They didn't realize that the Browns were chilling. They were going to be resting their players. They rested Joe Flacco. So I knew Cincinnati was going to come in there because Cincinnati been playing like the Colts. Like they'll come to play. They're not an easy out. They're tough. You know what I'm saying? They almost beat Kansas City last week. They almost beat a bunch of teams. And, they were fighting. They had a chance. They needed some other things to happen. So I knew they would come out and do the damn thing. And they did. They whipped Cleveland 31-14. You can't really judge that because, like I said, Cleveland was resting people. But the Bengals, just like New Orleans, too little, too late, come up a little bit short. They didn't get the help they needed to get in the playoffs. And it's only right because everybody knew with their quarterback situation, without Joe Burrow, they are not going to do anything in the playoffs. So that was just a wasted spot if they would have got in. You had the Bears at the Packers. I picked the Packers because you knew what it was. Packers needed to win to get in, and they did the damn thing, 17-9. And Green Bay, I almost changed this pick and picked the Bears for the upset, but them playing at home, I had to go play the safe bet. I looked at everybody else's picks, and I saw everybody was picking Green Bay, so I was like, why would I jump out there and risk picking the Bears? I don't trust them that much. Fields been playing better, but when you got playoffs on the line, playing at home, I figured Green Bay would do it, and they are in the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers. Your boy Love got the Packers to the playoffs. That's huge. That's huge for that young man. All you can do is applaud and salute that brother. The Cowboys at the Commanders. Commanders could have, played upset to a degree so that the Cowboys wouldn't win the NFC East, but this wasn't one of them situations where it's like you beat them and knocked them out of the playoffs. Nah, it was just a seeding thing. And the Commanders just suck right now. They just suck on both sides of the ball. They only put up 10 points, and it looks like your boy Sam Howell is not the guy. I mean, he shows some flashes, but at the end of the day, he looks like a good backup, He looks kind of like a Heineke type of QB. He's got a better arm, but it doesn't look like he's ready to be a starter. So now that the Commanders lost this game, which they needed to do to go ahead and get that number 2 pick, they got it locked in. So now that the Commanders had a number 2 pick, they can go and really make some moves to get the QB that they want. They are guaranteed to get one of these quarterbacks. Now the word is that they're going to try to move up. Chicago's got all the leverage in the world to just sell a king's ransom to Washington and keep, Fields if they want to and get all kinds of picks. They even have the 9th pick too. So they can get all kind of draft picks and everything. And then they got the 9th pick too. So they can build everything they need around Justin Fields. and run with that. Or they can send Justin Fields packing and go ahead and get the QB they really want. We all know who that is. So you had the Broncos at the Raiders. This was a no-brainer. It wasn't really a no-brainer, but Raiders playing at home with all the stuff that's going on in Denver, them benching Russell Wilson, the way Sean Payton handled that, it put a dark cloud over that organization right now. And just didn't believe that they would, just for the football gods, wasn't going to let them win this game and go out with a win. The Raiders playing with Antonio Pierce as the interim coach. They trying to make him the real coach. So I knew the players would come out and show out for him, and they did, 27-14. Now you had the Eagles at the Giants. Man, what the fuck is going on with Philly right now? All that Philly talk, all those Philly fans was yapping all year long, and they have finished this season off looking horrible. What the hell happened in Philly? Can anybody explain it? Leave in the comments what the hell happened to Philly. I know their defense sucks. I mean, they let the Giants score 27 points. And I know Hurts, he hurt his finger or whatever this game. People have been saying he's been kind of banged up for a few weeks, but, the way that they finished this season is not looking good. They are hobbling and really struggling going into the playoffs, and it's not looking good for them. Let's see who they have to play in the first round. Damn, who is Philly playing? I don't even know. I can't even see it right now. It don't matter who they playing. They're going to be struggling. You got the Seahawks at the Cardinals. Seattle pulled this one out. Last second field goal missed by Arizona. I picked Arizona to win this game at home, and they blew it. They missed it. But, doesn't really matter either way. Neither one of these teams was going to the playoffs. Seattle was looking good for a minute, like they had a chance, but they're just not quite ready. Their quarterback situation, I just don't believe in it, and never believed in them all year. And now you see why. You had the Rams at the 49ers. Once again, we knew 49ers going to be resting some people. When I found out that Brock Purdy wasn't playing, I picked the Rams, and they won by 1 point. Now the Rams are in, and they're going to have to go play Detroit. That's going to be a barn burner. You had the Chiefs at the Chargers. Man, the Chiefs, they just be playing shaky as hell every week now. But I did pick them to win this game, and they pulled it out by 1 point. And now the Chiefs have the third seed. So the Chiefs will be playing Miami. Woo! Miami might go ahead and take them out of their misery. We'll see if the Chiefs can flip that switch and get their shit together during the playoffs. They have the experience to do it. They got the squad to do it. But we'll see. Can they really do it? Can they really figure this thing out? I think they can. I think they are still going to be a formidable foe in the playoffs. A lot of people going to be sleeping on them. But don't sleep on the Chiefs, because they are still the Super Bowl champions until somebody beats them. You had the Bills at the Dolphins. Man, this was the game right here that won me the real money. Now, the person that I was picking against, they had the Dolphins. They had 13 wins. I had 12 wins. And they had the Dolphins. So if the Dolphins would have won, they would have won the money. I needed Buffalo to win, and then it come down to the points. She had 42 points. I had 37 points. And the Bills end up coming back in the fourth quarter, scored 2 touchdowns to take the lead, and then kept Miami out of the end zone and won this game 21-14 with a total of 35 points. And I had 37 points, the same points that I had last week and won the money. I decided to go with the same total points this week because it was like a lucky number, I guess. And sure enough, it won me the money. And that's it. That's it, y'all. I got back-to-back wins on the two biggest weekends of the year. I represented, and now they're going to have to see me in these playoffs. It's about that time to get that bet money ready, and I'm coming for all the bread. So until next time, I'll let y'all 100.